At 11:45 tomorrow night, our film is the comedy Chasers, starring Tom Berenger. But here on HTV now, it's time for the latest news.
Bin Laden's deputy reported killed by US airstrike. British Special Forces prepare base for aid flights. Sarah Payne trial hears scientific evidence against suspect. And the farm at the centre of terrorist bomb search.
From ITN, the ITV Weekend News with Nicholas Owen.
Good evening. Osama bin Laden was reported tonight to have lost his right-hand man in the Al-Qaeda terrorist network. Mohammed Atef was said to have been killed in an American airstrike near Kabul earlier this week. There were other unconfirmed reports today that the Taliban leader Mullah Omar has agreed to pull out of Kandahar, the Taliban's last stronghold in Afghanistan, by tomorrow. Kevin Dunn has the latest.
This is Mohammed Atef, whom the Americans believe they have killed in an airstrike. He was filmed at the wedding of his daughter to Osama bin Laden's son earlier this year, a marriage which cemented a long and close association between the two men. Atef also figured prominently on the FBI's list of the 22 most wanted terrorists. If he has been killed, the Pentagon says that is a serious blow to bin Laden.
That's our primary mission, that's our primary focus, is getting at al-Qaeda. So getting at principal leadership of al-Qaeda is a positive thing.
Atef is believed to have planned the September 11th attacks. His demise may indicate the net is closing around bin Laden himself.
Definitely he will feel vulnerable because, this one of his, closest aide, closest friend even, and a family relationship between the two. So it seems, the American will fit with the right information.
As Arabic television broadcast pictures of bomb damage in Kandahar, the Taliban's reclusive leader, Mohammed Omar, was reported to have offered to abandon the city within 24 hours. The report could not immediately be confirmed. But the US Defense Secretary said special forces were active in southern Afghanistan, even on horseback.
The ones in the light camouflage garb are in fact American Special Forces. They're doing assessments with respect to places that we can land aircraft.
Pockets of Taliban resistance remain, notably in the northern town of Kunduz, where defense sources said tonight there was a continued standoff. Kevin Dunn, ITN.
The crack British troops put into the Bagram air base north of Kabul last night were to be seen today only from a distance. They're sharing the base, possibly uneasily, with Northern Alliance fighters. Reporters were definitely unwelcome today, as our correspondent Julian Mannion found.
These are the first pictures of British troops in Afghanistan. Royal Marine Commandos, reputedly members of the Special Boat Service, on the roof of a wrecked aircraft hangar at the Bagram Air Base, which is now securely in Northern Alliance hands. The first mission of the 100-man British team is reconnaissance, to evaluate the situation around Bagram and assess the condition of the runways. Hundreds more British troops may arrive within days. They will clear a pathway to the Afghan capital for humanitarian supplies. They may also use Bagram as a launchpad for missions against Osama bin Laden and the Al-Qaeda network. The British government has promised that they will not be drawn into a full-scale civil war. Our attempt to approach the British soldiers led to a violent confrontation with undisciplined Northern Alliance troops who refused discussion. They fired shots into the ground to make us stop, slapped our interpreter in the face, and hit a cameraman with a rifle. We've been marched away from the area of the control tower where we saw what we believed was at least one British soldier, but the Afghan soldiers here are still trying to interfere with our filming. A short time ago, they threatened to shoot us if we went any further, and it must be said that the British contingent is at least ferociously well protected. British troops will face major problems getting the ruined airbase, which was once the hub of Soviet power in Afghanistan, to function. The battle with the Taliban is only the latest to ravage the area. Though the runways are in reasonable condition, virtually all the airbase buildings are destroyed. Some aircraft movements are now taking place. A Russian-made helicopter flew in, and a little later an Antonov transporter, also Russian, came in to land. Bagram could now play a major role in the war, and it's British soldiers who are making it possible. Julian Mannion, ITN, at the Bagram Air Base.
Jalalabad, between Kabul and the Khyber Pass, provided worrying evidence today that the retreat of the Taliban and Al-Qaeda won't necessarily bring peace. Guns were everywhere as rival faction leaders vied for power. This report is by Bill Neely.
The Taliban are gone, but the guns are not. It's eastern Afghanistan, but it's more like the Wild West. In Jalalabad, the streets are filled with gangs of heavily armed men carving up a city where there is no law. Just one traffic policeman. At least 6 factions claim they rule here. 6 men want to be governor. There's potential for anarchy, which is exactly what people don't want.
We want security.
I have not lived any single day in peace. Even last night I could not sleep because of lack of security.
Adding to the volatile mix, armed children. This is a unit of teenagers. Gulman is 14, Amin 15. Then there's Jalalabad's main prison. The doors are open because 186 prisoners were freed yesterday when the Taliban were driven out. A cruise missile. The Taliban fled from sustained bombing that devastated their barracks, tore holes in Jalalabad's airport runway, and ended their 5 years of rule as quickly as it had begun. For the last 2 weeks, American bombs and cruise missiles fell on Taliban positions here every day, twice a day. And they haven't stopped. Overnight, we heard missiles falling about 20 miles from here. The American warplanes are attacking retreating Taliban troops. Osama bin Laden's summer home in Jalalabad was one of the first targets.
Arabic people is running in the mountains.
The Arabs went to the mountains. Bin Laden's Arabs were seen retreating here. They too are still a threat. The Taliban murdered Abdul Haq when he tried to organize an uprising against them. His family returned to Afghanistan today for the first time in 5 years. They, above all, hope the Taliban are being driven out forever. Bill Neely, ITN, Jalalabad.
There were unconfirmed reports tonight that 5 British Muslims were killed in Mazar-e-Sharif, apparently among 500 Taliban fighters killed by Northern Alliance troops. Pictures from the scene showed Taliban bodies being taken for burial. Alliance commanders claimed the men had refused to surrender. Our correspondent Andrea Catherwood is the only British television journalist who's been to Mazar-e-Sharif. She went back there today and we were able to talk to her earlier.